schools to order, ISD 701, it's June 7th, 2023, 3:30 PM, daylight saving time. I'd like to welcome everybody here. And that being said, we'll move to item 2, Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand if you wish. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you and welcome again. And we'll move to item 3, a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Support. Moved by Director McLaughlin, supported by Director Polter. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. With that, we'll move to item 4, motion to approve the consent agenda.
Support.
Moved by Director Polter. Give this one to Director Egan. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. With that, we'll move to item 5, turn it over to Superintendent Rick.
Yep, thank you, Mr. Chair. We do have one for public comment, and you can go right up to the podium if you'd like. We have Ms. Lisa Rosati to speak about hourly wage of 14-hour aides.
Hi,
Hi.
nice to see you all. My name is Lisa Rosati, and I am a native of Hibbing, and proud to work at the Hibbing High School as a 14-hour-a-week library aide. I've been here for 4 years. Prior to that, I worked for the school as a study hall supervisor in room 200 for 3.5 years. That was also an honor to work here then. Mr. Aldrich and I spoke briefly after the first of the year about possibly taking the 33 employees in the district that make $14 an hour, 14-hour weeks is what we work, and possibly raising it to 16. I think there was a discussion in 2021, obviously in the thick of COVID. And we were very pleased and happy to go from prior, what it was, I believe it was 12 to 14. I did a little bit of homework. If you look at the 16-hour wage, which this is from Mr. Aldrich to me, the increase to 16, $2 more an hour would be $35,808, but you know that doesn't, it could have changed. So I did a little homework. And one thing I'm not sure if the board understands about a 14-hour employee is that when we work, if we don't get paid for holidays, I understand PSAs get paid depending how much they work for certain holidays. But when we don't work, if it's because of a snow day or it is a holiday, and this doesn't include summer, I can try to make it up on a Friday. Otherwise, my paycheck goes from what it would be down a whole entire day of $70 basically with taxes out. And if I don't make it up, then I don't have an opportunity to get a full paycheck. So, and you're not allowed to work more than 14 hours because you'd have to be in the union, which is why we tend to fill a lot of spaces. In those 33 employees, one of the reasons they're not broke out, which again, Mr. Aldrich graciously explained, everyone has a bit of a different job description. In the library, I know what mine is, but I also know as important are the hall monitors or the lunch monitors, the ground, playground monitors. They all serve a purpose. For me, there's one other aide in the library. What we do is a lot of computer work. It's not just shelving books, but everybody has an important job in that criteria. And, to get good people to come and fill that position is your goal, I would think. And so I'm sort of speaking for a lot of people that I don't know, but I know that I've talked to Babe Glumac and Tom Lindstrom and Nancy McKenzie, a few of the people that I was, lucky enough to work with through COVID. We were still here and frontline workers. So what I did is I tried to find a way where that $2 increase wasn't going to take somebody's job away or change things so drastically. But I took $14 times 7 hours, that's $98 for one day. Then I took that times the 10 holidays that are in the school year for us. It wouldn't include a holiday in June or anything like that. And that would start Labor Day through Memorial Day. There's 10 holidays. And if you take the $98 a day times those 10 holidays, that's $980. Times the 33 employees, that's $32,340 that we don't get paid. So when school isn't in session, you either, you don't get paid, or you can try to make it up on another day if that's possible. And so I was thinking, that doesn't include snow days, or of course emergency days, like perhaps even sadly a bomb threat or something. If that was your day to work, you don't get paid. And so I'm wondering if the board would please consider offsetting that amount by going up $2, so that the days we aren't working, at least that $2 would help with what is now post-COVID costs, and we all have them. Everything's gone up, and I understand that, we're not alone there, just property tax and hipping alone. But all of those little things at $14 an hour for the quality people, I think you're getting to fill that niche that you can't work more than that. You can try to make it up, and I don't know if all the 33 employees are able to do that. So that would be my request and consideration for those 14-hour employees, that you would consider that.
So what was the holiday figure you were giving us?
Well, if you look
You were
at,
just kind of doing a,
yeah, if you look at starting on this sheet that is the 23-24 schedule of office working hours. Like I said, we don't work in the summer, of course. So if you took the first holiday, Labor Day, the 2 Thanksgiving days, the 2 Christmas days, the 1 New Year's Day,
so it's 10.
it's
And
10.
then $98 a day times 10 is 980.
So 14 times 7, $14,
Yeah.
7 hours a day
Yeah.
is 98. I took the 98, hope I did it right, times,
Yeah.
times the 10 holidays
holidays.
is 980, times the 33 employees, that's 32,340 versus the 35,808 to put us to $16. I don't think we're that far apart
35,000 what?
on that sheet.
Oh, 800, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that could be.
Oh,
a
so you're
old
kind of using
figure.
that as a comparison
I
type
did,
thing?
I
Okay,
did.
yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
And hopefully that's not too disparaging, but, you know, I think since we don't get paid for those, we can't make more hours happen for these because of the whole union thing. I was hoping a $2 increase would be something you would consider for the school year. That's
Thank
it.
you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll take that under consideration.
If there's discussion at some point.
Yeah, so we'll, working session review.
And I would agree, and especially with contract negotiations coming up, it would seem as though it would be a natural time to look at this as well.
Right, we'll keep going on this, so, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, with that, we'll go to item 6, personnel, Superintendent Rick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome.
Item A is a motion to accept the resignation of Susan Sports as a 2023 summer school teacher, 60 hours, grades 9 through 12, effective May 15th, 2023.
Support.
Moved by Director Polter, supported by Director Duarte. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, thank you.
Do we need replacement for that?
Yes, so we're fully staffed for summer school. Yep. Item B is a motion to accept the resignation of Jaden Colbaugh, 7th grade boys basketball coach, effective May 16th, 2023.
Support.
Moved by Director Polter, supported by Director Egan. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, thank you.
Item C is a motion to accept the resignation of Casey Swinda, co-student council advisor, effective May 22nd, 2023.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Director Nyberg, supported by Director McLaughlin. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you.
Item D is a motion to accept the resignation of Casey Palmer, pupil support assistant, Greenhaven Elementary, effective June 2nd, 2023.
Support.
Moved by Director Polter, supported by Director McLaughlin. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you.
Item E is a motion to approve Caitlin Rigstad as a 2023 summer school teacher for grades 9 through 12, 60 hours for the summer school session, excuse me.
Support.
Moved by Director Polter, supported by Director Nyberg. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you.
Item F is a motion to approve the hiring of Tina Carlson, 0.6 FTE early childhood teacher, effective August 28th, 2023, contingent upon receiving an out-of-field placement license from Minnesota Pellsby.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Director Marty, supported by Director Polter. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Then we'll move to item 7, administrative reports. Item A, directors. Director McLaughlin.
Yeah, two things. First of all, I just want to take this opportunity to acknowledge and thank Keith Turner, James Pleas, and Julie Lane, and the multitude of volunteers that made the 7AA track meet go off. It was absolutely amazing, and I was a little concerned with the heat, but it went off, and congratulations to our athletes that are going to be participating in the state tournament. And again, like, I just want to reiterate Julie, that day with that heat and those athletes, she was just like right there taking care of them. And then
Director McLaughlin, just so today,
yeah,
Mr. Turner told us that we did such a great job on the Section 2A track meet that they want us to host again next year.
really.
But he's not super excited because it is a ton of work and it's crazy work, but they're asking again, they were impressed.
When
So.
you talk about community impact, so I was at a
Oh,
couple
yeah.
stores afterwards, and they're like, there has to be something going on in town because there's all these people. And then pretty soon here comes the Hermantown track team, right? It's like, what an impact.
Yeah.
And so that, and the second.
It's always easier to do it a second time after. you've done it
Exactly.
once,
Yeah,
Friday. Yes, sir.
well, and the second thing is commencement, and Renee Sikora and Carrie Fox, and again, all the volunteers. It was absolutely wonderful, and it was nice to see a full auditorium, as hot as it was.
Yes.
Very nice, so, to everybody that made it go. it's great.
Very good. Thank you.
I just want to make sure that we revisit the theater position, potential theater position. So I want to ask we get that on our agenda at some point to discuss what we're going to do about it, if we're going to do anything about it.
Sure.
Okay, well, thank you. Principals or any committee reports, might as well take that first.
We got Mr. Lewis who's up
All
first.
right,
I
I'm the
believe.
board principal, okay.
I'll keep it short. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, board. Just to update on our school readiness, so registration's been open for a month or so. We've got 63 kids signed up in the 4s group, 9 5-year-olds and 10 out-of-district kids in that group. Both of our half-day sections are full with 16 each. There are 6 4-year-olds, we're allowing 4-year-olds into 3s this year, and 6 out-of-district kids in that group. Summer programming on the way. I think we're offering about 13 different classes this summer, which is probably more than we've offered in the past, so I'm excited about that. The big one there is the aquatics. We've got 338 kids signed up for swimming lessons this summer. So that's awesome, and 82 adults in our, we're doing water aerobics, water Zumba, water yoga, water walking, and lap swim. So I just have to give a shout out to Alex Steeney. She's kind of coordinating that for us, and I'm sort of more of a baby steps, measured approach type of person, and she's all in. So it scares me a little bit, but she pulled it off. So there's been some bumps, but nothing we couldn't work through. I also like to acknowledge Tyler and his staff, because they felt some of those bumps, I think, when we first started. So, and he was available and worked with us and got doors open and things cleaned when we needed it. So I just really appreciate those folks. And finally, I tallied up. It always amazes me when I tally up the number of instructors, staff, and volunteers that are in our community ed programs. And I'm including like enrichment, our ECFE, early childhood, adults with disabilities. We had 215 folks teach in our programs and volunteer in our programs this year. So that's all I've got. So we did offer about 30 different classes this year, 205 different sections, and about 2,586 registrations.
Kirk, can you do me a huge favor?
Yes.
Can you just kind of go over what those numbers are for the 4-year-olds and then the half-day sections in
Yeah.
terms of in-district, out-of-district?
So right now for the 4s,
Okay,
right, so that's the all day, every day.
okay.
And we do allow 5-year-olds in there, but we usually encourage those 5-year-olds to, because they're kindergarten eligible, but there's a handful that just, they're not ready. So out of those 63, we've got 9 5-year-olds and 10 out-of-district kids. The majority of them are Chisholm. We have a couple Penn Gilly and maybe some from Rapids, but the majority of them are Chisholm. For the half day,
Yep.
so 2 sections of that, 16 kids each, so a total of 32 kids. We're allowing 4-year-olds in there, 6 of those, and then 6 out of district. So between the 2 programs, 16 out of district kids.
Thank you.
Are they full, the 3s?
The
classroom?
3s is, the
Threes
4s,
is-
we still have room for a dozen or more.
Oh, we
So,
do?
yeah, we were at about 73 this year,
Uh-huh.
which is annually divide by 4. A lot of people don't even look at that until July, August, so
Oh,
I'm
okay.
guessing we'll be back up to the numbers that we were
I
at this
think
year.
we'll be full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the 3s is, both sections of the 3s are full.
What about transportation?
We continue to offer transportation, so when they, not for the 3s, not for the half days unless they're not IDP, but for those full day, we do. So when they register, they have a choice.
Mhm.
They click, I don't need transportation, I would use it if available, or I would not be able to attend if I didn't have transportation. And we
Okay,
focus on that last group,
yeah.
because we just don't have the capacity to transport 30, 40 preschoolers. Like I said, we had to sell our soul to the devil just to get those preschoolers on the bus. If you remember from years past,
Yeah.
the bus companies didn't allow that.
Yeah.
So we focus on that last group. And this year, I think we transported about 20 kids. And right now, about 17 have checked that I would not be able to attend if I didn't have transportation.
So then they'll get transportation?
That's our goal, yep.
Do they pay for it?
No.
And do we transport from out-of-district as well?
I also have to check with Todd on that. Yeah, I think we may get Chisholm, but usually it's within the confines of Hibbing.
Why don't we
Can I add,
provide,
I don't believe that there's, maybe by the end of school readiness, like in April, May, June, at the end of the school year. But I don't know many 4-year-olds that are just ready to get on a school bus by themselves,
Right.
unless they have a sibling with them, or unless they sit with a neighbor. So, I mean,
We have
you had how
guidelines.
many? Maybe 8 that wanted transportation in the beginning of the year, I believe, when we asked, 8 or 10?
Yeah, it
wasn't a
right
ton.
around there.
Yeah.
But then circumstances change, so by the end of the year, I think we were up about 20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have some different guidelines for those kids. They have to sit in the front row, front seat, and there has to be an adult at the bus stop before and after. We can't let them go off with a sibling
Mhm.
or walk to the house. There has to be an adult waiting there to escort them.
So the regular school bus takes them?
Yeah,
Oh.
unless they're on IEP and they have a special transport, but by and large, it's they're on the regular school bus with those high school kids and,
Mhm. It'd be nice if we had a separate little small bus or something.
yeah. We've talked about that with
Yeah.
possibility, depending on if we get that VPK and stuff.
So remember I shared with you that we got that kind of this one-time VPK seats, and Kirk's been working through that, and it's a very complicated process to
One-time
get
payment of money,
payment.
yeah.
So it ends up being about 200 grand, I think, when we, roughly 160 or something like that, when we cut it up, once we've done all our work, and we have to pay back some scholarships for some people that paid, because now they qualify for free. But, where was I going with that whole
You were
thing?
saying maybe we'll get a van?
Oh, yes, so the VPK seats, we're not on the docket to receive that VPK money for next fall. But the legislature did double the seats. And we're pretty confident that the following year, that would be, what, 24, 25, am I having that right?
Yeah.
The following year, I think we may get some seats.
Hopefully, yeah.
And if we get seats, we have to offer transportation.
Correct, it'd be just like K-12, if they're within a certain radius, we have to offer them transportation.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
If
If
we
we
get
fund it
the
a little
VPK.
bit, we do have to provide it.
What do you mean if we get seats?
If we get some, because right now we don't get any money for any early childhood kid, with the
Nothing.
exception of the pathway scholarships and tuition that
Okay.
Kirk takes in for, but it doesn't meet our costs.
Okay,
So this would be an ADM, about $7,000 per student. It's 0.6 of an ADM that we get for VPK seats. So if he's got 60 kids, 0.6 of 7,000 is 4,200, 4,200 times 60 kids, that would be our revenue that we would get from VPK.
and that might come from the legislature?
And it is coming, yes.
It is coming,
It's earmarked not for this coming school year, but the year
but the
after.
year after, and then forever?
Well, I don't know about forever, they can do whatever they want down there,
I mean, not just one time though.
we hope not. I mean, the current ones have been running for 10 years, their
Right.
seats, so.
There's a group that got grandfathered in, that they've made it permanent. There's a group that has to reapply every year, cross fingers, get in. And there's a group that we're in that we apply every year but don't get in.
Oh, okay.
And the reason we don't get in is because there's no seats.
Right.
All the
There's
seats
added
that
new
are
seats.
available are already spoken for in the state.
Mhm.
So unless they add more seats. So Kirk, since we've partnered ourselves and aligned ourselves with Head Start, and we're in the same building, that like bumps us up a grade in this application. Now we have a partnership with, so we're looking pretty good
Yeah.
if they make those seats available, if it happens. So, but it supposedly is done.
And what are we gonna do with this 200,000 one-time money?
It wouldn't even
I
come,
thought-
it wouldn't even come close to making 1/10 of our expenses over at that building.
I know, but aren't we getting a one-time payment of 200,000?
So that's just backfilling our costs.
Oh, okay. So I was
Because
gonna
we
say,
were-
could we buy a van with that?
Well, we wouldn't want to buy a van because we contract out, we don't want any vans.
That would be an ongoing expense also,
Yeah.
instead of a one-time shot, then that's eating up your stuff.
I mean, Kirk and I worked through a real difficult problem with the busing companies in the beginning of the year, because they didn't want those younger kids on the
Kids,
bus,
yeah.
because they struggle with being responsible and understanding the rules. And so Kirk worked really hard to get those kids to school,
Mhm.
and they're on our current buses, which really doesn't cost us anything.
Right,
Because we're already
yeah.
running a bus to that stop.
Yeah.
It's just maybe just a little bit more time, but if we were to run a separate bus out to pick up 50 or 60 early childhood kids, we might have to have separate 7 or 8 buses, right? Because we might have kids coming from
Oh, I suppose, yeah.
down by Silica, and we're gonna have kids coming from Side Lake, and so
Yeah.
I think we're better off to try to keep them within our transportation if the busing companies are helping us, and,
Yeah, another thing to consider, if we did add a bus dedicated just to preschool kids, we most likely have to pay a staff person to be on that bus.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because a couple kids sitting in the front row is doable, bus drivers, they deal with it, but if you got 30 preschoolers on a bus, and Head Start does that, they have someone ride a bus with them.
Okay.
What happens when there isn't an adult at the bus stop?
Then they take them back to the bus garage, and Todd calls, so they bring them back to ELC, so probably only happened a couple times this year, as far as I know. We really drill it in, that if they want this busing, they gotta have someone there, an adult.
With the aquatic program, are we using the Lincoln Are you using the Lincoln?
No, we're focusing on the high school. In the summer, the Lincoln isn't open, some of those extended hours. So we're using the two pools here for the summer.
Lincoln Pool?
Yeah.
They swam in it all school year.
I know.
I don't know if they've emptied it now and are cleaning it, or what they're
I
doing.
think they're emptying. Tyler had sent an email out just yesterday asking if anybody was using it this summer.
Okay.
And that's kind of huge because, correct me if I'm wrong,
Like just
they
maintenance. I'm sorry.
canceled the swimming for a while, right? And there was a possibility of it not gonna happen.
Right.
And
Yeah.
to show those numbers, I mean,
Yeah,
people
we're really
desperately
excited about
wanted it.
So thankful for
We
that.
started that from scratch, from the bottom up, so.
That's great.
Yeah,
The biggest thing was the lifeguards. I mean, Kirk worked all year and Miss Steenie worked all year on finding lifeguards and getting them certified and lining people up. That was the huge.
And the instructors is a big piece too.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I'm so happy that's back.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna say, Mr. Regan, they drain all the pools every year, clean them, do grout work, and I think that's what they're doing with the Lincoln right now, so.
Okay, with that, we'll move to item 8, administrative business, turn it over to Sir Alex.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome.
Item A is a motion to approve the health insurance renewal with the Northeast Service.
Was Joel supposed to speak? Excuse me.
He doesn't look heartbroken though.
hoping
He was over there raising his hand.
He doesn't look heartbroken. Sorry, we're sorry, Joe, sorry.
Okay, Matt, got the camera?
Now I'm really gonna talk a long time. I want to thank the board for this begged chance to talk to you guys. We are just obviously coming at the close of the last school year and getting ready for the next school year. So we have in the tech department lots and lots of, I mean, now is where we just like go and spin up full speed. Most of those things that I can't really talk to you about them because if I did, your eyes would just roll back and you'd gloss over. But there's a couple things I can mention. So this year right now, it's we are, as you know, we're purchasing new iPads. So that means all of the existing iPads that we have out there, we're trying to collect them back and we resell them. We get about between $250,000 and $300,000 for the iPads that we sell back. And that depends on the condition that they are and how many we're returning. We did a little bit differently iPad collection this year. Historically at the high school, we've had the homeroom teachers collect the iPads from the students and they check on a piece of paper that they got the iPad and they're missing a charger and it's broken. And then we would run and we would collect all those pads, pieces of paper from every classroom, bring them down, type them into a spreadsheet, get them to the offices so they could do billing for damaged and missing devices. And this year we did something a little bit different. We took, during their English class, we had them go down to the library and the tech department collected the iPads across the whole day. And we collected that information electronically so that we instantly could return the missing information to the offices right after the end of that day. So that was a little experiment to see how it went and it went really well. Everybody that I talked to said it was way better than doing it in the classrooms. So we're going to look at ways that we can improve that maybe at the Lincoln and maybe look at centralized distribution when we come back. We'll see if that model will work for that as well. This morning when I came in, we had 438 missing iPads still. The end of the day before I came to the meeting where we were down to 343, so we keep knocking that number down. One other thing I just want to mention, just as an aside, talk about what we do in the summer. When I first started here, we had almost the entire month of June and July where like nobody was here. And now summer school, there's more kids in it. It's offered in more buildings. It's going till the end of July and then already secretaries come back in August. So our window of opportunity to do things when nobody's around and not affecting anybody is shrinking all the time. So we're constantly trying to find ways to work around that. It's just a cost of doing business, just wanted to let you know that. A couple things that we're looking to implement next year to streamline things. Automated account provisioning. So when a student is enrolled in PowerSchool, they'll automatically get all their network provisioning accounts. Same thing with staff. We're exploring the idea of using single sign-on for Power School. And we are doing some new things with our copiers where we're gonna put new software on for handling the print jobs and the scanning jobs. And we're also gonna automate toner ordering. So we're gonna have a piece of software on the network that is going to talk to all of the copiers and printers and see how many pages and what the toner supply is on them, and then order automatically through Metro Sales the toner supplies based on that. So that'll kind of be automated. And then, of course, every time I'm up here lately, it's cybersecurity. This summer, we are going to be hopefully entering a partnership with the state of Minnesota through a cybersecurity grant to install new software on our devices to improve the security. We are implementing a new backup system. We've already started that project, and we hope to have that done before August. We're working on the cybersecurity response plan. We actually made advancement in that it was actually mentioned at an admin meeting today. We didn't actually talk about the plan, but we mentioned that a plan should be talked about. So we are making progress.
Joel, can I just say in my defense, right? I want to work on that right now, but so then we get delivered the 120-page document from MDE about all the other things we have to do. So this took precedence today. So.
Well, remind me of that when we're shut down because we were hacked. And then obviously in the summer we do software updates and network updates to improve our security. That's really all I needed to talk about today, unless you have any questions that are burning.
Joel, could you, just because I know some of the board was interested, could you kind of give an update on where that light board is in the auditorium?
Yes, we ordered it quite a while ago. It was originally promised to be here mid-June. I received an email that said now they're saying end of June. So I emailed back and I said, what are the chances that the manufacturer's new estimated ship date is accurate? And he responded with 50-50. So it's just availability, supply chain.
So what do you do when somebody doesn't return their iPads? Do we have a?
We build them. And for like the new kids, we will typically, depending upon what the quantity is and who the students are, we talk with the building principals and talk about getting the police involved to say that they're missing. We've recovered a number of them with the police going to their homes and knocking on the door and saying, do you have an iPad?
Really?
But we'll see what the number is, how it shakes out at the end of the day. I mean, right now we're still over 100, but we'll knock that down quite a bit.
You're at 343.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Still have a lot to go through.
That's shocking to me.
So the insurance doesn't cover lost or stolen, it only covers damages?
If you can figure out how to get insurance for lost things, sign me up. About the only thing that we would do, insurance specifically says it does not cover lost items for obvious reasons. Oh, I lost my iPad. Did you really? So what we would talk through and on a case-by-case basis, if they filed a police report that they had it missing, so if they actually want to go through the legwork of filing a police report and that kind of thing, then we might say, okay, this was, if they come back and they've got a pretty detailed story about how it was lost. But as far as, I lost my iPad, I don't know where it is, we don't cover that with insurance.
So what do we charge them?
The replacement price that we pay for it, and the case and the charger.
So do we have any threats? Like you're not gonna, I don't know. Do we say anything to
Well,
them?
for example, when seniors graduate, they
Yeah.
aren't allowed to walk across the stage
Okay.
until
So I take it you got all
they do
theirs.
something. Yes.
Okay, but what about all the younger kids?
It's just a matter of sending them bills, yeah.
Wow.
Ours don't go home too.
Huh?
Ours don't go home.
They
Have the
don't
K2.
go home, so you should have all the K through 2. So the issue is
You
probably.
made an accurate statement. We should have all the K2. That is an accurate statement.
I blame the
Don't-
collection
you know.
system.
Okay, but so the issue is grades 3 to 11.
The issue is grades K through 12 and staff.
Well, 12, we got the graduates, because
Yep.
they can't graduate.
Yep.
Okay. And staff?
Sure.
Okay.
I was
But
gonna say,
wait, can I just say, but Kathy, we're not gonna hand a staff or a student a new iPad when they haven't turned in their own.
We aren't,
No.
okay.
No.
So you're not getting your new one
Well, we'd have to figure something out. but-
until either you pay your bill or you give us your old one.
I was just gonna ask.
Stays in the school, we do things
Yeah.
like that.
Okay.
What we
There's
issue
gotta
to
be
the
something.
Now, come the start of school, the student is not gonna suffer and not get their lessons and that type of thing. We're gonna figure something out, but we're not just giving out extra
And
iPads.
we have other
willy-nilly,
students
so.
that have broken multiple iPads in a course of a year,
Yeah,
and they're not allowed to take them home. So, you know, we mitigate those things.
yeah. Well,
It's pretty hard to say you can't have an iPad because so much of what we do requires one.
Right.
So,
But we could restrict them to in-school use, right, or after
yes,
school?
that's what I said we do.
In school?
No homework.
Well, they have to stay after school, but school to
The other thing is,
It's a
Joel,
bus.
Joel mentioned this today, Director Nyberg, and he didn't say this right this moment, but we have instructors that are teaching summer school that have to keep their iPad.
yeah,
We have students that are in summer school that are
Mhm.
keeping their iPad.
Yep.
So that number is
Yep.
not as crazy as it was.
It's in flux,
Yeah.
exactly. And let me put it another way. Every year that we have done this, I look at our inventory and I get quotes on our asset recovery, you know, what they're purchased for. And I have a formula that I use that guesses based on breakage and loss and stuff like that, how much we're gonna get. We've always exceeded my guesstimate. So there's never been anything like that's been super drastic.
I think you said that last time.
And let me say that I said that number more illustrative of the work that we do than that I think we're missing 343 iPads.
Okay.
That number is gonna go
Way
down
down.
to double digits, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, good.
I hope.
Yeah.
Erase
And
the-
after hearing about what's going on with cybersecurity in Minneapolis schools, thank you very much for everything you do for Hibbing,
Yeah, yeah.
because they are having a nightmare down there.
It's tough and,
bad. They had some students break in, did you hear that?
yes.
They had some student hackers.
Yep.
Just to prove how insecure that system
Yeah,
was.
one of the things that we'll be talking about
Yeah.
doing is getting a cybersecurity audit in what's called a penetration test, and that's where you actually hire a company
Yeah,
to break into our network.
Yeah.
And then they tell you what your weak points are,
What your weak
so you
points
can
are.
resolve them.
so their own
That's one of the
students
things
did
that I'm looking for, you
Yeah.
know, as an ask in this plan.
Yeah. But thank you anyway for all that, for making us secure.
Very good, Joel. Thank
All right,
you.
thank you.
Next time you'll be first instead of me.
I saw Mrs. McDonald here, so I was assuming that she was gonna speak, so I didn't say anything before, but I had attended the Health and Wellness Day with the Greenhaven and the Washington at the end of May, and everybody had such a great time. It looked like the kids there were so many different stations. It was great to see parents in the stands. It was a beautiful day, and you looked like you were having fun too when I saw you. But it's just another great thing that we did at the end of the year for the kids there.
And Christy SD organized all of that. Christy SD deserves all the credit for
Yeah.
that. She did a ton of work.
It's nice to see the two K through twos come together that day.
Yeah.
The kids come together. It's neat.
And not have it be a competition where you're
Yeah.
competing, it's just a fun day, right?
Yeah,
Yep,
fun day.
yeah.
Okay, now here's Alex.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome.
Item A is a motion to approve the health insurance renewal with the Northeast Service Cooperative effective September 1st, 2023 to August 31st, 2024 as presented. Oh, boy.
Support.
Moved by Director Polter, supported by Director McLaughlin. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you.
Item B is a motion to approve the 2023-2024 resolution for membership in the Minnesota State High School League as presented.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Director Nyberg, supported by Director Polter. Any discussion?
Somebody called me today about that. Apparently we have to print something off the We have to sign something on a computer now for that.
It's a DocuSign, and I've done my part, and after the meeting, then I think you'll need to do your part as the clerk, so.
Has the cost gone up from last year? The state high school?
I don't know.
Remember what it was last?
So if they were bumping costs up, I would have gotten an email. I haven't seen an email like that about costs going up, but I don't.
Last I heard it was gonna be the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's what plus.
Well, we talked about it last
Yeah.
year, about the amount of
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, thank you.
Item C is a motion to approve the purchase of services agreement between ISD number 701 and Kind Interp for interpreter services for the 2023-2024 school year.
So moved.
Moved by Director McLaughlin, supported by Director Polter. Any discussion?
I think it was Egan.
Pardon?
It was Egan.
Oh, Director Egan, I'm sorry. Did you get that, Pam?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you.
Item D is a motion to approve membership in the Minnesota School Boards Association and Policy Services renewal for the period of July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024, and authorize the superintendent to pay dues in the amount of $7,779.
So moved.
Support.
By Director McLaughlin, supported by Director Polter. Any discussion?
I just say one thing, Mr. Chair?
Sure.
This right here. The MSBA is earning every penny of that $7,700 because there's 25 board policies that we're gonna have to redo as a result of the legislative, 25 board policies. So that's them going through, all the legal requirements and statute, and working with attorneys, and
Well, we better hurry up and approve.
we better pay,
Yeah.
yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, thank you.
Expect that to go up next year.
Yeah, right.
Item 9, discussion items.
You know what, the only thing I was hoping, just to give the board just a little update on this legislative session from what I know today. And I don't know how micro or macro you want to go, but does everybody understand the funding formula increase that we got? And we had four coming in
No, tell us the funding that we got.
the whole thing? Okay.
Well, tell me the increase. Yeah.
So maybe a simple way to say it is if we rolled everything ahead, all of our costs ahead, we didn't have any increases in salaries, we didn't have any increases in electrical bills, the student stayed the same, student count stayed the same, and staff stayed the same, we would have about 1.9 million in new revenue that we didn't have this year. So some of that is formula money, that's just money baked in per student. About $1 million of it is cross-subsidy money where they're actually paying us for special education, where they haven't been paying, they're still not paying the full amount. They're not
But
paying
they did increase, because weren't they only paying us 60%?
Yes.
And what is it up, what percent is it now?
So they covered the cross-subsidy at 40%, which is I think it was a little bit of optics to make it look like 60% was covered, and now they're covering 40. But they're only covering 40% of what they weren't covering before.
Of the 60? So.
No, of the missing
Oh,
40% that they weren't covering
Oh.
for us before.
Oh, only 40% of the
Yeah.
40%.
So 15%.
Yeah, but either,
So either
regardless,
way-
it's about $1 million is what
So
it
either
is.
way, instead of getting 60% for special ed, we're maybe at like 75%?
Yes, yeah.
Something
Yeah.
like
Is
that?
that a good way to explain it, Alex? Yeah.
Okay, so that's a substantial.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, it's we've been backfilling that with general ed money for all these years. So
Right.
We're never breaking even with special ed, so this is gonna help.
So
We're
that
still not
should
breaking
help.
even, but it's gonna
Yeah.
help, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so, and the only, the other kind of special things, I believe I shared what we did. When Tyler, Alex, and I went down for the special legislation on the levy, just for our historical status here at the high school, that didn't make it in. And if I hadn't shared that with you, I'm sorry, but that was probably even 2 weeks before they ended the session. Senator Farnsworth called me and said that there's some state equalization with that levy, so they viewed it as a tax. that the state, it was gonna cost the state something even though it was minute. But since there was a tax, they just kicked it out. They wouldn't even discuss it. So he tried to tuck something in the omnibus bill at the end to help us. But being a Republican in a Democratic-controlled government, it didn't get any support. And Representative Igo even had a harder time. He had no, well, I shouldn't say that. This is just me looking from the outside. He didn't have support from the Democrats the way Senator Farnsworth did. I think Senator Farnsworth kind of built some relationships with those Democrats in the Senate. And that's why we got a committee hearing and some of the, I don't think that Senator Igo had that same luck in the House. So we didn't even get a look in the House. So that money we didn't get. But Senator Farnsworth he was just in the other day and he hasn't given up on it. It's something that he would carry ahead for us in the future.
Oh, good.
We did get the sales tax rebate, that special legislation for Hibbing passed. I'm confused on the dollar amount, so I don't even want to say it, the dollar amount out loud. The dollar amount that we saw today isn't what was in the bill. So it should have been almost $500,000, and it looked like a little over 200,000 is what we got, so I have to check on that. I don't know why that would be, but we did get that one-time sales tax money back from our building projects that we had here the last couple of years in the district. And then the other one that's really pretty exciting for us is we are named in particular in the nickel conversation with the IRRB that we had talked about, the nickel that they were going to hopefully get. They got it. And we are named in the bill and earmarked to get 8 million of that nickel, or that additional money.
Over what timeline?
That I don't know exactly. I think they're still figuring that out. I think they're bonding right now. They're borrowing that money so they'd have it available. And supposedly in the next month, I'm going to get that application process and we'll see what that looks like. But the kind of the sticking point is, and this is where I could use the board's support, if you happen to know anybody on the IRRB board or anybody that might be in the know, Mr. Roy Smith or Whitney Ridlon or any of those folks that work there, is one of the requirements to get this money under the current guidelines is you have to have a voter-approved operating referendum as your match. So Chisholm passed one, they've got their match. Nashwauk passed one, they've got their match. Virginia passed one, they've got their match. We don't have a voter-approved referendum, and I don't want one, to be honest. I don't want to ask for more money just to get money. So I've been making the case that we are collaborating with other districts. It may eventually lead to some type of voter-approved referendum where we work together on, but we're just not there yet. And I don't want to be held up for ransom because we don't have that piece in place. So what I've been lobbying kind of behind the scenes is Hibbing, not that we're so wealthy that we're cash rich, but we could simply float that match out of our fund balance on paper, right? That we have money available. I'm not saying spend 8 million out of our fund balance, but I'm saying to have that there as somewhat of a backup rather than going to our voters to ask for money to match that. I just don't think that's a good idea.
I'm working on that too behind the scenes with somebody's in the inner circle, so.
Correct.
I think we can get, well, knock on wood, I hope we can get it worked out.
Another way to look at it is, and Alex and I, just really rough, just talking about it today, is if we knew that let's say we knew that over 10 years we had $700,000 a year for 10 years coming in from the IRRB, we might bond and borrow some money and then use that IRRB payment to make our payment. And then there's all kinds of ideas about potential projects. I think I'd have to talk through with them. I think we need to focus this chunk on the high school because that was kind of our selling point in this whole deal, is a historic building and maintaining it and the cost. So we might have to use that 8 million here in some shape or form, but that'll free up other maintenance dollars for all of our other buildings in the district. So I know I said 100 different, I'm still working out all the details, I'm not even close to giving you a good presentation, but I wanted you to know that we have that money. It's earmarked in the legislation for the Hibbing schools, $8 million, which is pretty awesome.
I would agree, I think we have to work really hard to get the provision out, or we have to bond, or we have to pass a referendum.
Right.
Because I think we need our community support, and I think with what happened to property taxes in our community this past year, I'm not sure us going out for a referendum would be the best thing to do right now. So,
People tend to be more supportive when we build something with it. But, yeah, just the opposite, like, people would be real reluctant when they got their, everybody's so upset they got their property taxes this year.
Well, we'll keep this up,
People are still
every
talking
meeting
about
we
it.
can update.
well, and we're acting responsibly, you know what I mean? And that's our role, is to be fiscally responsible.
I do think, I mean, if, you know, a little bit of pressure from you would be helpful if it was applied to the right people, just so they can understand where we're coming from. It's not that we don't respect the rules or respect the application process, but to me, it just seems ridiculous to have to ask for money that I think IIIB and the range area, it's not, I don't want to say it's Hibbing's turn, but it kind of is our turn. I mean, we've sat back for many, many years, and other districts around us and communities have gotten things that we haven't, and I don't want to, again, be held ransom over when you look at how the rules were twisted on all the other building projects, where you had this firm language that had to be met in regards to consolidation, and then they kind of waived that and said, well, if you're working together, if you're talking, you can still have the money. If they can make that provision, then why can't they do something similar?
So
So,
you put a letter together on behalf of the board,
absolutely.
we'll have each individual signature on it, saying what we want, or what we asked them late before, and,
Make one offer they won't refuse.
yeah,
Well,
put all the,
and, you know, I thought it was pretty noticeable and notable, at least I paid attention this past weekend in the Manny shop, where I always like to count up the number of graduates that each district has. And I just thought it was interesting. Hibbing had, what did we have, 156? Nashwauk had 27. Mount Iron had 35. Chisholm had 40. So, you know, when you talk about funding and
and they're getting
per
more schools.
student.
And they're getting new schools.
Okay,
Well, fiscally responsible, I'll just come right up and say it,
Yeah.
that's, I'm sorry, that's wasteful.
That's wasteful.
well,
So I wanted to just share with you quick one idea, and this is just an idea, and I wanted to float it so at least it has some conversation. So if we're going to focus maybe something on the high school building for now, the one area in this building that has never really seen any type of remodel or anything is that center core where the old pool is, the old boys gym, that walkway to the AD office, that locker space, that's an area that I'd like to focus on. And I'd like to get our weight room that's outside in the tech center, get that back into the main building so our kids don't have to walk in and out for gym classes in the wintertime. Maybe do a remodel of that area, maybe the gym itself, get away from it just being a gym and have it be more of a wellness center with climbing wall, with something a little bit more modern, because we've got gym space. You could still hold the game in there. I don't think we'd ever hold a varsity game in that old gym, even if we did a remodel. It just doesn't have space for seating in the room. But that little area in there, I think we could do something then with secure entry at the high school office. I think we could do something about getting our high school office staff back together, because right now half of them are here and half of them are down at door 12. I think we have some opportunities there.
I'm getting an estimate, artist conception, and
Well, again, I'm just floating an idea for tonight,
But,
but
you know,
yeah.
like I
yeah.
said to you this week, Rick, when we were talking, It's gonna depend on what the city does. Are they gonna do a wellness center at the Memorial Building?
Right,
You know, are they gonna do a walking track? Are they gonna do whatever?
right,
So, you know, we really need to be aware of what they're up to.
yes.
You can talk with the mayor.
And I had a great conversation with the mayor one day last week. And you know, I said, I think, my opinion, we need to put together a plan. And so when you're talking about this letter of support, I feel as though we should include the city, the PUC, because at the end of the day, it's the same taxpayers that bear the burden for everything.
Okay.
And so, again, I think that, like I said to the mayor, sure, everybody wants new facilities, but I think we have to have a master plan for our community, so we're not spending good money after bad, and we're not all duplicating how we're spending our money. And he seemed to agree. And quite honestly, like I said to him, I believe it needs to extend beyond the city of Hibbing, but that's a whole different story.
That's the first one.
We do stuff like that, for instance, sidewalks, the roads, and water mains and stuff. So we do stuff, and maybe a little more.
Would be better. We need to find out what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
And they've been talking about that Memorial Building for 5 years.
Right.
I think about, last meeting we talked about, what we're gonna do. We had our, get with Chisholm and let's get with the city. I can tell you, in my personal experience, the city needs us more than we need them. For them to get funding for their project is gonna be very difficult unless they have us to support that facility. So along the same lines that you were just talking about, I think that it would be a good idea to include the city on what our plans are. I don't see that project being completed
You know,
within 5 years, if it's ever done. I mean, there's, the money that they're talking about, it's not just an $8 or $10 million project, it's a $60 million project that they're looking at. So
and would they raise the taxes to pay for it? Is that what,
I'm not the mayor.
I don't know what their plan is. Yeah.
I think want to be like everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew the Ben Owens Fund at one time talked about giving them a ton of money for that,
Right,
but
but,
I don't know.
it gets to the point where Ben Owens Fund can only afford to give out so much every year. And,
Right.
I think their main interest is what we do here. I think that's what
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Owens would want. I think he'd want to make something here now. Just
Yeah, but at
a
one time, Owens was gonna put in for the Memorial Building,
$500,000, I think. it was.
something like that.
When you look at the cost of construction right now, these districts that have projects on the table and funding in place, when bids come in, they realize that the cost is just far exceeds
What they plan.
what they have to pay for it with. And they're gonna have to scale that project significantly.
Probably.
When you look at the tax impact, 32 million that one of our neighboring communities had, and what it's done to their community, and you make that 50 or 60 million. It's a lot.
Okay, it's Director Polter?
Before you-
Oh,
Go ahead.
Before you leave, I just want to I'd like to thank the class of 20 for giving me the opportunity to hand out the diplomas. We had a rookie working with us, but I think it worked out really well.
We did.
And then I'm glad to see they bought a bench.
Yeah.
Is that going to go right out here?
Yeah.
It's,
Currently?
I don't know if it's been loaded, but it's there right now.
Okay, so I'd like to thank them for doing that. So I wish all the graduates a lot of luck in the future.
It was an awesome ceremony. You know what, and along those lines, are there any updates? I was gonna ask when Joel was here, but it's kind of the intersection of technology and grounds. This electronic sign, do we know anything more?
Anything more? Yeah, we talked about
We
that.
talked about it?
We talked about the June Hendrickson donation. and-
Yep, so Tyler's still moving forward. He was getting some additional quotes and, did he share with you the, different locations that I thought maybe, I'll have him send that. He had an email that he had worked up with, a location out on this corner here on 7th with a sign. Maybe one here, maybe one on that end, maybe one over by the anchor door someplace. He just put it in different places so
He
you
had
can see.
mentioned that he was going to work on it, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
So is it practical? I just, I think I was talking to maybe Kathy or something on the way out. I think that the Dillon Monument ended up really attractive, both to the monument and to the school. And I want to make sure that our electronic sign, wherever we put it, doesn't detract from the beauty of the front of our school. Having said that, is there any way, if we decided to put it someplace else, that that little sign that's in front could be converted to have the internal square be electronic? You know, I mean.
We've looked at that in the past. So that instead of having just a blank metal sign, you have some architectural elements around it to make it look a little bit more attractive. And back with Joe Arthur's is really good design for that.
And I don't even know about the external piece, but there's that black part where the students have to go in and kind of put the letters. If that could be
Turned into an
turned
electronic?
in, the internal part turned into
Yeah,
electronic. So
because, yeah.
even if we didn't put a big sign out there, at least it could be updated and,
Well, if they put a sign on the corner, they could
Yeah.
also tie it in with
Yeah.
a sign right here, you know, just using that same location and same size, and it would just tie into one color.
yeah, if they did that.
Yeah, you're talking about that sign right
Yeah.
there.
Okay, well, have Tyler.
Well, yeah, we get an update for us. on
Yes.
that.
Absolutely.
One other quick thing I just wanted to tell you, I dropped off a brochure for Rick today that somebody gave me over the weekend. It's a little synopsis in heavy Facebook from 1929. We went through the father's stuff and found this and brought it to my house on Saturday. And do you know how many schools we had hitting in 1929? 24. There's 24 buildings.
Public schools.
These were our
Public
independent
schools.
school district 27, it was known as that. We had 24 schools and 6,200 students. What was the number, one out of?
One out of 3 residents was a student in our district, 1 out of 3. I bet you today it isn't 1 out of 10.
No. But even Latonia has a school
Yeah.
with over 200 students in it.
Latonia did?
Yeah.
I know Kelly Lake did
There's
for a
like
long time.
Yeah, but there's like
Kidsville, Maple
114.
Hill, they all had the glass.
Kids still have
park
them, yeah.
edition,
But 220, Latonia, there's not, barely 20 people even live there anymore.
I know.
Well, plus I have to believe they had the McCall Institute in North Hibbing during that time. And that was, I think, a pretty big school.
I don't think that was on the list.
No, because
That's private.
It was private.
Yeah.
I see they started the tuck pointing and cleaning.
Yeah, so they pressure this, I think everything from the second floor up on this side is done. I was out looking at it today, it really sharpened it up and looks nice now.
Are
And
we-
it's not as much, I mean, to be honest, this building is in good shape, tuck pointing wise. It's not so much tuck pointing, it's more just cleaning and brightening it up.
The whole building I think was done like 30 years ago. We
Yeah.
spent the whole summer driving
Tuck
all
pointing.
of it down.
Yeah. Are we doing anything for the 100-year anniversary? Isn't that this summer?
So that's, no, it'd be the
24th.
24th.
Oh, next summer.
Um,
Oh, okay.
So that's the burning question, and no, like the school district is not organizing a reunion.
Okay.
We will open our doors and be accommodating, we'll do whatever we need to do, but we're not organizing it. We've had lots of people calling and asking us, saying, what's the plan? What do you, that was, I'm drawing a blank on who did it last time.
Well, Kitchens is the one, the big last one, they had the air show and they had their reunion.
Chamber does.
There was somebody just that did the most recent one, I'm drawing a blank on who it was.
And it's the 100 years of what? Of the
Graduating
high
class.
school or?
The first
The
graduating
first
class.
graduate, okay.
Yeah, maybe.
First graduate, okay,
I
so,
don't even think it's, I think because there were students in here in like 1920,
This is the first
1923.
graduating class.
Yeah.
maybe.
so
There
they've
were-
been
There were
here,
students in there prior to
Okay.
that, but from what I was told, this is the 100-year anniversary of the first graduating
We're on
class.
Sunday, yeah.
Okay.
That's just it. 1924, the first, because there was a reason, it wasn't done yet, the auditorium or the cafeteria, so they had to wait a year. So they did it in North Hibbing.
Because in that book, wasn't it something like the first class or one of the early years, there were like 2 students or
people.
something?
yeah, yeah. And so that would be the class you're talking about, like 2 people?
Remember the first graduating class in 2020 or 19? 1824, whatever
But it
it
could have
is.
been up there, or it could have been this building.
It's this building.
This building,
This is-
okay.
Yeah,
This
it
building,
was, they went in 1923,
yeah.
but the cafeteria and the auditorium weren't done yet, so they had to stay in North Haven until this was done. So then the first graduating class is 1924.
24, okay.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that number 2 was way earlier than that. So of course they
I think
supposedly
that could
had
have
to
been
start.
23 then.
Somewhere I read that the dedication happened, I believe, in January of 1924. Like, that's when all the construction was done.
Mhm.
And then that's when they had the dedication. So when someone reached out and said, when's Hibbing's 100th year? Like during COVID, I think somebody asked. And then I just went down to Mary Pulsich Keys and Bob Carney and said, when did 100 years be? They said it would be 2024, so that's
Okay,
what we've been,
yeah.
but
So-
we've had lots of people calling saying, what are you doing? But we're not planning events and class reunions.
Right.
That happens outside. We just open our doors and accommodate visitors.
Well, you could just have a big open house and then maybe barbecue outside or something.
Well,
Exactly.
somebody's got to step up and organize that.
But you gotta have some committee, right, yeah.
I don't
Steve
think-
Rocker did it that
Oh,
one
he
time.
did it? Okay.
Maybe he was the last one, because I think Candy Sepula at the city, she's been getting a lot of calls too.
Oh,
I've been
okay.
talking with Trina about it, and I think he was the last one, so.
I guess someone has to step up, say, start a committee and start putting stuff on Facebook. Get people that wanna help plan it.
Can't go without volunteers, and Saturday I volunteered at the citywide cleanup.
Yeah,
And they've been advertising on Facebook and other social media sites, there were signs around town, in the paper. We had 6 volunteers.
yeah.
3 of us were 66 years old. That was, the other ones weren't even volunteers, they were city employees.
Yeah.
The mayor was there, Chris Whitney was there from council, and a couple of law enforcement people. But we could not get people to step up,
I know.
volunteer. And we collected, we guesstimated 200 tons of garbage.
Um,
So
Okay, the 1903, first graduating year, 2 people.
Yeah, well, the
1904 was 3, 1906 was 6 or 4.
first school year began in the fall of 1922. First graduating class was 1922.
Okay.
1922, there were 122 people. 1923, 119. 1924, 120. I got that off the top of my head.
So,
Well, just
so,
because you were there.
That was my first lifetime.
You went to college here, didn't you?
No, the first year up there, they moved it.
My parents
But
did,
back in close.
One of my good friends, he went to kindergarten through 2 years of college there.
yeah.
so we are expecting, we expect thousands of people to be here, through here that summer. So, all these sidewalks out front are getting done, flowers, I mean, this place will look sharp in the summer of '24. Because, I mean, in a typical summer, there isn't a day that goes by that a tour bus doesn't pull up here and when I'm in my office and somebody walks in, here's a class of 73 with 30 people, and they'll come in and want to take pictures in the boardroom, and they'll have had a principal that, was their dad, and they want to, we get lots of visitors here in the summer,
Well,
but
then
that
we
will,
should put up a toll booth out there.
well, I want to put out a donation box or something, I don't know.
We should put donation boxes out, yeah.
So, I mean, we'll be ready for the 100 years.
Okay, Director
Motion to
Polter.
adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, it's 4:40. I'd like to thank everybody for coming here. Without objection, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.